we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Redneck word of the day, mushroom. Y'all get y'all asses in the truck. There ain't gonna be much room. We're getting
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Cleveland Indians were made aware of complaints about Mickey Callaway's sexually inappropriate behavior during his tenure as their pitching coach, despite the team's public statement to the contrary, a report according to The Athletic. Indians President Baseball of Operations Chris Antonetti, in response to an earlier report by The Athletic, derailed allegations against Callaway, said last month that the organization was unaware of any inappropriate behavior towards women. Angels manager Joe Madden declined to comment on Callaway on Tuesday, citing the ongoing investigation. ESPN is once again pushing cancel culture as the University of Texas fight song has come into play. Texas President Jay Hartzell responded on Tuesday to a report in the Texas Tribune, fueled by ESPN coverage, featuring emails sent to the school by boosters angry that football players were refusing to follow tradition by singing The Eyes of Texas. ESPN leaked a quote by an unnamed booster, "My wife and I have given an endowment in excess of $1 million to athletics. This could be very easily rescinded if things don't drastically change around here." The alma mater, which gets played before each and every Longhorns football game, has come under scrutiny in recent years because it was performed in a 1903 minstrel show. Hartzell said in a statement last fall, the song will remain, quote, "The Eyes of Texas in its current form will continue to be our alma mater. Aspects of its origin, whether previously widely known or unknown, have created a rift in how the song is understood and celebrated, and that must be fixed." New head football coach Steve Sarkisian said at the January 12th news conference, quote, "I know this much. The Eyes of Texas is our school song. We're going to sing that song. We're going to sing that proudly," unquote. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. If you don't like Fernando Tatis Jr. hitting grand slams, walk him. Keep doing what you're doing, kid.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. It's bad when your dirty laundry of your family is getting aired out. Bad job by, I don't even know his name, but the son of the skipper for the Cleveland Indians. It's being aired out all over national news, and it's just a bad look all in all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports Radio, YouTube Live. We'll get you going here in 1 second as soon as I good Lord, I've got too many electronics going on at once, Justin. What is it, Wednesday? Here we go.
Well, that's why it's called a confidence game. I mean, he has to win your confidence or you wouldn't put up the money.
It wasn't his idea. The nun suggested it.
She was part of the team. They always work in pairs.
I don't know what the church is coming to. I thought it stopped with bingo.
That was no nun. I work for a consumer protection show. We've been warning people about this for months. Once these scamsters have your money in an envelope, they make a switch and you wind up with worthless paper. They prey on the old and the gullible.
Are you calling me gullible?
No?
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a groove in his head.
Hey, howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing great, Mac. We're that much closer to opening day, and I've already got the spring fever, man. It's inside me. I got a touch of the 60s this past weekend. Got a little cool this morning. Had a little rain come through, but I see sunshine staring at me through the window over there, and dude, I'm jacked up.
Did you watch any baseball yesterday?
Not much. I got suckered into hockey, and boy, was that disappointing. So no need to talk about the Nashville Predators.
I didn't even catch that game yesterday. I watched a little bit of baseball. I watched the majority of the Rays-Red Sox game. Obviously, with Atlanta not being on, I wasn't able to see them. And I can't sit through radio broadcast of a spring training game. So I just kind of punted that, and it was interesting. You know, the only thing that got me was it right off the bat of the broadcast yesterday that the first thing that they did once they got into the actual game itself is started talking about poor woe is me. Are we going to have a full season? I'm like, really? Are we going back to this again, ESPN? Christ, that was a year ago. There's obviously protocols put in place. I did see that they are punting the 2021 minor league baseball season back about a month is the short of it. And they are planning on having those off-site satellite camps that they had where the players stayed in shape in case there was an injury. They will have that in the meantime. Once the minor league camps open up, they will send them to, you know, AA, AAA. And I saw that they were going to actually open up single A and even low A, which surprised me. I thought they were just doing double and triple. So that's good news in itself. Jacksonville, we are now a AAA franchise for the Marlins, which, let's be honest, those guys are just a freaking stub of the toe from being right up there and contributing in a very young Marlins organization. The Nashville Predators, not Nashville Predators, Nashville Sounds. Are they AA, AAA? Do they still exist? What's going on with them?
AAA Brewer affiliate.
Okay, they still are the Brewers. Okay.
Well, they had gone. It's come full circle. They went by way of Brewers out to Oakland, then to the Rangers, and then ended affiliation with the Rangers. And this is first year. Well, last year I guess technically was supposed to be. It didn't happen, but this year's first year with the Brewers.
I will say this: these affiliates, they need to be closer. So to me, that's a good move. Right.
Oh, and it was that way for so long. So Nashville fans are familiar with Milwaukee because they've been, growing up. That was, I don't know how many years, but off the top of my head, I know for at least a decade of my youth that they were with the Brewers. That's the longest running affiliate I can think of.
Yeah. I remember weren't they the Brewers way back when Prince Fielder was in the minors?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Prince Fielder played at Greer.
Yeah, so that's been a hot minute. When I first came to Nashville years ago, they had two teams. They had the Express and they had the Sounds. And I don't remember which was which, but I believe the Express, which was the AA team, I believe they were the Yankees affiliate and the Sounds were the Reds affiliate. And then somehow they lost the Express and the Sounds have been moving around ever since. But I always thought that was a great idea to have Cincinnati's AAA team beat Nashville, because I guess my point of this whole thing is when I see this, I see Jacksonville, of course, they've been with the Marlins for a while. This is the first time that they've been the AAA team. But what sense does it make when Jacksonville had the Dodgers as their organization, right? Like you couldn't get farther apart.
Like you can't even see their market games to watch your guys when they develop into the bigs.
Exactly. Like to me, it only makes sense. And maybe the good thing that'll come out of this whole COVID thing is that they'll realize the travel is just ridiculous and stupid. Now, it's just not just a waste of money; it's a waste of time. And so I do look forward to that. Before we switch gears, J.J. Watt, it became official yesterday. 2-year, $31 million deal to go to the Arizona Cardinals. That took me by surprise. What say you?
Yeah, I didn't expect, especially when, he puts out there that word tracks that he chose them for a championship. And I'm scratching my head thinking, well, okay. This is the head coach that went 500 with Patrick Mahomes in college and hadn't really shown me a whole heck of a lot of difference here. But, maybe Kyler Murray can overcome his coach and J.J. Watt can do the same. But tough division. I don't get that as his choice. I think it had a lot to do with maybe weather, surroundings, and DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe he wanted to be with a friend.
I think the number that I just said is the reason why he picked it. 2 years, $31 million. Because there's a lot of teams that had interest in it, but I don't know if they would have given him a 2-year deal. Because first of all, 23 of it's guaranteed, but a 2-year deal, let alone 31 total. I think people were hoping to get him on a discount, and now an older JJ Watt, which I looked up the stats yesterday. He's only had 9 sacks since the beginning of last season, or 2 seasons ago, I guess. 5 and 4 respectively. That's an issue to me. I don't know if I want to spend $31 million on a guy that's definitely on the decline of his career. I wouldn't have minded seeing Tennessee get him, but I wouldn't have wanted to see them pay that much because it can hamper you to sign other guys. What say you?
I personally am glad we didn't go this route. I was scared this could be another Clowney-esque move. And you're tying up a lot of cap space for an older age. And you're looking to relive a heyday, and the numbers just aren't there that it's out there. And Tennessee needs to bring in an elite pass rusher, not someone that it takes 2 other guys to free up so JJ can get there now, because JJ, I don't know that he can just force his own and impose that will and be the number 1 on that line. And for $15.5 million a year, if you're going to tie up that space, he's got to be that number 1. I think you're right that money probably led is exactly why he went out to Arizona. He probably wasn't getting similar offers elsewhere. But, the Bills and the Packers, some of them that are rumored, I just thought they were more interested. I thought the Bills would have been a great fit. I thought if you really wanted a push to a championship, you had a core roster there. They bring in a running back. You shore up that defensive line. I thought that could be his possibility, especially in the East right now. Versus the NFC West that he just walked out into.
Yeah, well, that's my other question is, do you think that this even makes them a contender? Does this put them over the top in any way? No. I don't think it does, because I wouldn't surprise me if J.J. Watt at his age becomes a situational player as opposed to an every down player.
Yeah, he's probably going to be out there 70, 75% of the snaps. I don't think you're going to have him every single down. You're going to snap count him until you get to the postseason, if you make it to there. But man, you've got a solid Rams, both sides of the ball, that you've got to figure out how to tackle that, and the Seahawks. Now, I'm not buying all the Russell Wilson leaving and all that carnage up there. We'll see what happens with the Seahawks, but still, I think you've got two teams you've got to hurdle and jump before you can even talk about being the contender. And I don't know that J.J. Watt is that one person to put them over that edge now.
I agree. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Pacoda rankings of Major League Baseball, and Sean O'Toole is on the way as well. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to YouTube Live and CBS Sports Radio.
Mr. Money, will you please escort Mr. Washington off the court? Take him down the block. And if this dreadlock bomberaz even blinks wrong, you lullaby his ass.
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
Twitter's stupid, and Instagram is Twitter for people who can't read.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Armchair.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Let me sum it up.
If you're looking for gifts or stuff for yourself from all teams, from all sports, it's MVP Collectibles. The St. Augustine Outlets Mall. Suite 245 across from the food court. MVP Collectibles has all 32 NFL teams, every SEC, every ACC, teams from the Big Ten, and 10 different Major League Baseball teams. That's MVP Collectibles. It's where the Armchair Quarterbacks can be found just before game day to get our man cave popping no matter what team you love.
Cool. Wizard versus nerd. Write you down with my spell. No, science is the answer.
Please be kind, use your manners, tip your fans, tip your bartenders. Here we go.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Little West Cook band for you, excuse me. Turn that down. Justin, I just saw, man, that would have been I don't know much, but I know one thing if I'd have seen this before. But Ian Rappaport just tweeted out that the Washington football team will create their first co-ed dance team / cheerleading team. I don't know if they'll be cheerleading or if they'll just be dancing, what the hell it all entails, as a part of its new game day entertainment program. We woke now, baby. We woke. So you and I have you and I have like 7 months to get in shape for this.
You can see my style. I'm in a perfectly good shape for it.
There's gonna be a dance off in the quad.
Where's that video? Cue it.
My God. This person whoever this is that's putting this together, Petra Pope. I don't know who that is, but evidently was the manager of the Laker girls. So this gives you an idea of what you're going to be looking at in the Knicks City Dancers, which I believe is just the New York Knicks version of the Laker girls. So there you have that. If you're not happy enough to go out and get yourself just a potato head now, not a Mr. or Mrs., just a potato head. Now you get to hold your potato head while you watch the Washington football team dance squad.
Poor fan base, man. That's all I got to say.
It is on. What was that franchise of that movie that they did like 9 of them and one of them was enough? Where the cheerleaders were dancing. God, it was popular. It was like 20 years ago. I can't remember. It comes on all the time on rerun, like on TBS or whatnot.
You're killing me. I can't get Longest Yard out of my mind right now. I'm thinking of Washington football team dance team.
Set it off or dance it off or whatever the hell it was. Julia Stiles was in it, and they were okay. So this is where this is all going. Wow. Now I can't get the movie Tootsie out of my mind. Did you ever see that? That's an old one.
It's been a long, long time.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was man. That's a movie that would get cancel culture now. How dare you make fun of people? All right. Well, moving on from that. Earlier I was talking about Frank Kona, the skipper of the Indians. His son shot his mouth off about the whole Mickey Callaway thing. And evidently these two are estranged. Now it's his son, but evidently they have a really rough relationship for whatever reason. I'm not sure what his son actually does, but it's got something to do with the Indians organization. And he put him out on blast and said that my dad just doesn't get it. Basically saying that he's defending Callaway and his son's woke. It's basically his son patting himself on the back saying, I'm woke, dad's not woke. And let's hash this out in the national television media. Cause it was all over New York sports this morning. And all I could think of was like, man, it doesn't matter how bad of a relationship you have with your dad. It makes you look small when you go after him in the media, right? It doesn't matter what he did to you. The look is always going to be that you're the jerk. Frank Kona could be the biggest jerk on the planet to his kid. He could have done horrific things to his kid. Nobody knows. I'm not going to accuse him of that, but what I'm saying is when you go out there and you make those comments, you're the one that looks like a jackass.
That's bad all the way around for the Indians. Just where this stops, don't know.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and move on from that. Let's get into some Pacoda rankings. And Brian Cook's watching with us. Good to see you back. We've had this on for the last few days, but the problem is the comment section hasn't been on, so we haven't seen any comments. So it's good to see some people rejoining us. The Pacoda rankings, man, I'll tell you what. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, and we'll get into more of this later in the week. I just want to start off with the National League East, and then we'll get into other ones down the road because we're going to run out of time in this segment. But right now, if you just look at the positions, they've got the Mets finishing first in the National League East and running away with it, by the way. Running away with it with 96 wins. They have the Nationals in second place, but 85 wins, so 11 games behind the Mets. So I wouldn't even kill them if it wasn't for the fact there's such a disparity in the win-loss. If the Mets did win the division and the Nationals were the second place team, I don't think it's 11 games. I mean that's absurd. The Phillies are in third. The Phillies are in third. They're 13 games out of first place. And then that's where you get your Atlanta Braves 14 games out of first place and in fourth place, with the Marlins pulling up the rear at 68 wins and 94 losses. And I think they've got the Marlins extremely underrated. I think, first of all, I don't think anyone gets 96 wins in this division. Do you?
No, I don't think it will. I think you're going to have some teams. I think it's split into 2.5 groups. I mean, I realistically do, and I've completely inverted mine. I think your bets and your Braves will be at the top of the list, but I think they'll be competing for 90. I mean, I think they're going to be in the high 80s, right around 90. I don't think they're going to be in the upper 90s, just running away with the division. And then your step off is still not that great, but I think they're going to be in the low 80s. You're going to have your Nationals and your Marlins sitting there, and I got the Marlins sitting in third. Actually, I think they'll win more than the Nats, and I think the Nats and the Phillies are going to wind up the division, but the Phillies will be closer to 70 wins. I just don't see them running away and putting up 84, 85, I think is what you said, being above 500 and sitting third in this division.
Yeah, they've got the Phillies at 83, the Braves at 82, Marlins at 68, and then the Nationals at 85. But the biggest thing that jumps out at me at that entire thing is that the Mets are going to win this division by 11 games.
Yeah, I don't understand the drop off for Atlanta either. And obviously, I mean, there's no hiding it. I'm going to be a little bit biased on that. But how do you add Charlie Morton, re-sign Ozuna? You have Soroka coming back, Max Fried and Ian Anderson, the possibility of Bryce Wilson, and you fall off after you've won the division 3 years in a row and you're bringing your core back. I mean, how do you put that into a rating of 81, 82 wins?
They had the worst starting pitcher ERA in the entire division last year, the Atlanta Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect that to repeat itself anywhere near it. I think the Braves will have, if not the best starting pitching staff, they're going to be right there 1, 2, 3 with Washington and, of course, the Mets.
And I didn't even mention they have the MVP, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies. I mean, I haven't even mentioned the rest of the lineup. I don't get it. I think they'll be closer to the top with the Mets. I'm not saying they're going to run away with it. We got to see how this rotation and these arms and that bullpen settles out through 162 game season. But you see it different than those two at the top? Mets, Braves battling it out.
I could see the Nationals. We'll probably we'll start doing our predictions probably next week. Sean and I are going to do the AL Central next hour, but I was slowly going to try to get into this because we might actually do 1 or 2 this week, because my only fear if I push it back too far is that we're going to get caught up in March Madness and not be able to get it all in, right? But right now, I mean, I have the Mets, Braves, and Nationals like 1, 2, 3, and I don't think there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of separation. I'm with you. I don't believe in the Phillies. I think the Marlins might beat them out. Now, there's a lot of ifs there because the Marlins overachieved last year. Can they repeat that kind of performance? Remember, they were playing with like a chip on their shoulder. And so I don't know if they can, repeat that kind of performance, but I'm with you. I think it's 2 divisions. I think it's Mets, Nationals, Braves, and then you have Phillies and Marlins. And the Phillies and Marlins are going to be fighting out who ends up in the cellar, and Mets, National, Braves are going to be fighting out to see who wins the division, and then possibly a wild card. We got Sean joining us, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to break so that when we come back, we can get into bracketology. Did you want to add anything else?
Not about the East. I mean, I agree with you top to bottom. Well, I'll break it down when we go into predictions and get a little bit more in depth with it.
Tomorrow, we'll get more into this Pacoda ranking. Okay, we'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterback. Sean O'Toole is joining us here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in. We'll be back in about 90 seconds.
Hi, friend. It's your home speaking, and I need some favors. Could you turn on some of the lights in the basement? I'm scared of the dark. Also, this one is easy. Could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico so we could save money? Last thing, just a suggestion. Could you steam clean the carpets? I need a spa day.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
New Year's resolutions. We've all made them. Mine is the same every year. Eat healthier. The eat part usually works out fine. It's the healthier part I forget about. But not anymore, now that I've found the oh-so-chocolatey Built Bar. Built Bars are low-cal, low-sugar, high-protein, high-fiber. Great for keto. Lose or maintain weight while indulging in a yummy treat. At 130 calories, you'll feel like making a resolution every day. Try all 18 amazing flavors. Get yours at BuiltBar.com.
Are you listening?
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. CBS Sports Radio and YouTube Live, and joining us for the first time in almost a month, Mr. Sean O'Toole. Sean, how the hell are you, sir?
I am licking my wounds from the Michigan-Illinois game last night, but still got 2 chances to win the Big Ten regular season title coming up. So it's still well in hand, but I would have liked to have seen it last night. I took off of work 2 hours early, and 6 minutes into the game, told my wife, I said, boy, this decision aged badly.
You had mentioned that you want to talk bracketology or college basketball today. And right after that, I just flipped over to the Michigan game, and I see it getting creeping up and up and up. And finally, I'm not that person that does it, but I was like, man, I'm tempted to go. Are you sure about this? Are you sure this is what we want to talk about? Because that was brutal. The Baylor game was really good.
Yeah, very good. Right before it.
Congratulations to Baylor. They won the Big 12 championship in basketball. I think it was the first time. I think they said like 40 years or something like that. So congratulations to anyone in the Big 12 that's not named Kansas that won the championship. It's kind of odd to see, all these blue bloods struggling at this point, because right now I'm gonna pull up the latest bracketology that I saw. Where are we at here? I'll find it here in 1 second. But anyways, the Duke is on the last 4 out at this point,
right?
Which is just insane to me, because I would not have thought at any point would you have Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, and Kentucky all in the same year threatening to not make the playoffs or the tournament, so to speak.
Right.
Do y'all feel like Duke's going to get it done and continue? They've played pretty well here recently, but do y'all think that that they're going to get it done and actually get in?
I'll go first. I'm going to say no. I think they need something like Michigan was in this position. I think it was the very first Beeline team, or maybe the second Beeline team, right after he replaced Tommy Amaker, where we were like 16-11 in the regular season and basically had to win the Big Ten tournament. And they almost did. I mean, they got into, this is the team that beat, this is that the first Mo Wagner team. So I think it's 2015 or 2016. And I mean, beat Indiana, who was a top 4 team in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, and had a couple other wins. And I think we got in as like a 13 seed or a 14 seed and got, just got crushed when we got to the tournament. I mean, I think Duke's in the same, they're actually in a worse position than Michigan State in the Big Ten. I think they need a run in the ACC tournament, like a significant run, or I don't think they're getting in, which is just baffling for me to have to say.
I mean, it is.
And it probably comes down to the next game, because Duke Carolina play each other on the 6th.
Yep, you got it.
And Carolina probably has a little bit more leeway. They're 9-6 in the ACC. Duke's 9-8, so maybe you can hide a loss for Carolina. But with their schedule, and I don't know if that can be enough to offset that or not, or if it even matters. But I'd say Carolina probably has the nod in between the two. But winner of that game, it may have a chance to get in. Loser definitely doesn't.
Tonight, I know Florida State's playing. I wanted to see if Duke or no, neither one of them are playing tonight. You've got NC State and Notre Dame. That's a big old. NC State's probably got an outside shot of getting in. Notre Dame's been atrocious this year. Virginia Tech, Louisville has been canceled. So that was the best game on the docket. Florida State hosts Boston College, and they better bounce back. And Boston College is 4-13, and it's in Hassey. I mean, come on. If they don't win this game by 20, I'm going to be beating the freaking ceiling with the damn, baseball bat. The SEC, what kind of games do we got going on tonight in the SEC?
Yeah, Missouri, Florida should be a pretty good game.
I thought
that's a good one.
Yeah, so Missouri, Florida, that's at 6:30, so that's a good one. And as far as the top 25 go, most of the big games were actually played yesterday. But at 8:30 tonight, you do have Creighton versus Villanova on FS1, number 14 versus number 10. Even with that being said, I can't get excited about Creighton versus Villanova. I'm not even sure what the hell a Creighton is. And I'm just being honest. San Diego State is ranked number 19 in the country. They're at UNLV. And I already mentioned the Louisville and Florida State games. So that's about it that you got going on there. But as far as the bracketology goes, I'm going to pull it up real quick. And they're saying that the last four in right now, so it's crucial for them to continue to play well, is Drake. Hate the Drake. Love the Drake. Hate the Drake. Who's the Drake? Seton Hall, Michigan State, and Xavier. The first four out, meaning they got to play their way into it, is Duke, St. Louis, Utah State, and Boise State. Here's something else interesting. The next four that are out, this is another blue blood, two more blue bloods that I haven't even mentioned that are having terrible years. Indiana and Syracuse are on that line. And Memphis, which they made sure to lock up Penny Hardaway for the next 7 decades. They're on the outside looking in as well.
We haven't even mentioned Kentucky, who's also on the outside looking in. I mean, they're drawing dead. So.
I mean, I mentioned them as far as not getting in, but yeah, we even talked about the fact that it's going to be a weird year if Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina, I think they're safe right now because especially with that win against Florida State last weekend, that helps their resume immensely, right? I wish this was broken down into conferences so I could see, which conference is getting what. I still say this. They do this every year, but they're doing it even more this year because there's not out of conference games being played. It drives me nuts when they put like 8 to 10 to 12 teams from one conference into the tournament because they believe that they're the best but they've only been playing each other, right? They're doing it this year with the Big Ten, but there's other years where they've done it with the ACC, with the SEC, you name it, where you're like, okay, that's fine that they're doing great in their conference, but how do we know that's going to translate when they play outside their conference? And so I feel like there needs to be an unwritten rule that like more than 7 or 8 teams for your conference gets a little ridiculous. Because you got 68 teams. Is it 32 or 33 automatic bids from conference tournaments? So you essentially have around 35-ish, give or take, at large bids. When you give one conference like 10 of them, that's leaving like 20 to 24 at large bids for the other Power 5 conferences.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State all jammed up there at the top, and I just think it's a little overrated. I think Michigan's a good team. I think they just had a bad night last night. Illinois is obviously a good team, but Ohio State's took it on the chin here recently, and they continue to have them on the 2 line. And now they've got Iowa on the 2 line. And can we address the fact that who the hell is Houston played to be sitting on the 2 line?
Nobody is the answer to your question. I'm gonna throw a carrot at Justin's way because he watches way more SEC basketball than I do. I actually think one of Illinois or Michigan, if they lose early in the tournament, especially, could actually lose their 1 seed to Alabama. If Alabama runs the table in the SEC.
A carrot to Justin to say you're going to put Alabama Crimson Tide as the number 1 seed.
I'm just giving him some SEC. Go wild.
Justin does not have the same thought process that you do. That is good news that his Alabama Crimson Tide are going to get the number 1 seed.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
That's like telling me, David, yeah, it sucks that Florida State's really sucking in football, but at least Florida and Miami are doing well. So, you got that going on.
I'm glad your Red Wings are doing horrible. I hope your Tigers suck, and I'm glad your Wolverines went down last night. There you go.
If anybody's paying attention to the teams I pull for, you know that most of my teams are bad right now. So.
Although the hat, I do have to mention this, and I don't know if anybody saw it, and it has nothing to do, and I'll get back on topic after this, but the Angels yesterday. Did anybody catch the Angels-Reds game yesterday? They had both teams in their home red jerseys, and it was atrocious. If it wasn't for the outlinings of the numbers, you could not tell who played for what team.
They did that with the Cardinals the other day. I forget who the Cardinals
did it with the Cardinals. Did it with the Cardinals and the Reds. I think it was. I thought it was the Cardinals and the Reds. I could be wrong. Might have been the Cardinals and the Angels. This happened in the NBA. I don't know. People are losing their minds.
It could have been either one because the Cardinals playing Florida and those 2 teams we were talking about playing in Arizona.
The NBA had a regular season game last week between Oklahoma City and Atlanta. Oklahoma City had orange jerseys on, and Atlanta had red jerseys on. They made Oklahoma City change to their white away jerseys at halftime because people watching the TV broadcast were so confused because the colors were, and it's not like a bright orange like Tiger's orange. It was like a muted, dull orange that looked close to red. People were freaking out on social media.
To me, that's even worse if it's basketball because that's literally a sport where you're passing to each other.
Exactly.
You get it in your peripheral vision and you just see a reddish jersey and you fire it away, man.
It was a problem.
Go back to your point. I think Alabama could sneak in there, but I don't think they're going to have a deep tournament run. I think they've done good, but I think that style, when they get to some of these pesky defense, someone that can contain them on the perimeter and take away that peskiness and that penetration that they do off of it, I don't think it's going to bode well for a deep run.
The team in the SEC that I think could go on the deepest run is Arkansas. That's the team that I really like. I've watched them play several times, and I really like their style of play. And I think that guard play is always key in the NCAA tournament, and they've got good guard play, but they also play really good defense. And I really like Arkansas's chances of making a deep run. As far as the ACC outside of Florida State, I'm a little hesitant to put someone on a deep run. And it's hard for me to say Florida State because I know I'm biased, so I always kind of leave that off to the side. But when I look at some of the other ACC teams, I do believe this is a little bit of a down year for the ACC. But if there's a couple of teams that you want to look at and say, okay, who the hell in the ACC could actually get some stuff done? Look, North Carolina's got talent. For whatever reason, they're not putting it together. And as of right now, they're sitting at the 10 seed, which means if they win that, they're going to play the 2 seed right out the jump. Louisville, I don't see them doing anything. Virginia Tech's not bad, but if you put them on a 7 seed, they're in the same boat. They're going to have to play a 2 seed. The team that I think is going to get dumped early is Virginia. I think Virginia is overrated as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia had a great record until about 3 weeks ago when they started playing the meat of their schedule. Florida State beat them, and it almost like it opened up an avalanche of losses. And so now they're sitting at a 5 seed, where at one point people were talking about Virginia on the 2 line. I think Virginia, and not only does Lenardi have Virginia on the 5 line, he's got that red arrow going, this isn't going to last. They ain't going to be the number 5 seed. So the sneaky team that could pull off an upset in the ACC is Georgia Tech. They are a very underrated basketball team, and I think they could do some damage. Not Final Four kind of junk, but they could sneak into the Sweet 16 and upset the apple cart, so to speak. Sean, Big Ten, if you were going to put any team in the Final Four, who would you feel most comfortable with? We'll go and put Michigan aside because we're going to put your Michigan bias aside. Let's go to, because the same thing, like it's hard to ask me about Florida State because we're gonna win it all. We're gonna sweep the Lakers. What are you talking about? You not watch this team? Did you not see them tear up North Florida? Who outside of Michigan could you see? Do you have the most faith? Would it be Illinois? Would it be Ohio State? Iowa? Who?
So last night's game for Illinois, and I didn't realize this until the game started. Desunwu was out of the game, and that was their win-1 for the Gipper. I mean, he is absolutely their best player. Starting guard, probably outside of Luka Garza would probably be the Big Ten Player of the Year, and he didn't play last night. He had a facial laceration in their previous game, and I guess they didn't feel comfortable that he would be able to see because it was too close to his eye, so he sat out. So I mean, they really had their win-1 for the Gipper game last night. Honestly, the team, even though the last time we saw them, I'm sure left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because Michigan just made them completely roll over, would be Iowa. And I'm basing that on two things. They really got away in the Michigan game from who they are. They just kept trying to feed Luka Garza over and over in the post, not realizing that Hunter Dickinson's a very good defensive center, especially in the low post. Iowa shot the 5th most 3-pointers in all of college basketball, and they're 40% from 3. If I'm going to bet on a team in the Big Ten that nobody's looking at, or any team in any conference for that matter, usually around tournament time, it's going to be the team that takes the most shots. Now, live by the 3, die by the 3. But if those shots are falling, there's only 4 teams in college basketball that have shot more 3-pointers than Iowa, and they're shooting almost 40% on them. They get hot. If they get hot for a few games, they can absolutely tear through the tournament and rip through teams. And win people a lot of money because I don't think any eyes are really on Fran McCaffrey, who is very, very annoying. If you've never watched an Iowa game, he's Iowa's head coach. He's just really just loud and sweaty and gross. He's like the population of India. He doubles in size every year. Can't stand him. But Iowa would be my one bet.
I don't know where to go with that. Justin, how far do you see Tennessee going in the first of all in the SEC tournament, which by the way, we talked about this yesterday. I saw it flash across the screen last night. They're going to let 3,400 people into the SEC tournament in Nashville. So there's that.
Good for that.
Justin, how far do you see the Vols going in the SEC, but most importantly, the national tournament?
I think they'll probably make it. I don't know how it'll bracket out. I haven't seen the seating for
right
it.
Right now, they have them in Region 1 as a 6 seed.
No, the SEC.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know how that, but I would think that they will be a Final Four in it. I would think that they would get to the semifinals of the SEC tournament. Going in, I think this team really their inconsistency. I think they've kind of put a postseason mentality to it. I'm hoping that's what their consistently inconsistent offense is. The defense is there. The question is just whether can they make a shot when they need to do it. You just can't continuously travel up and down the court and not score any points. So the way that the last bracket I saw looks like if they get past their first round matchup, they would match up with an Iowa in the second round. So I guess we're going to find that test up. That could be their go home point for the tournament there.
As of right now, they're sitting 5th in the SEC, just below LSU and Florida. Alabama's going to win it. Arkansas should be the 2 seed. And then Florida, LSU, and Florida plays tonight. If they were to lose that, see who else Florida has to play. I would think they play this weekend as well. Oh, they play at University of Tennessee this weekend. Okay. So that's an interesting one. Is that Tennessee's only game this week? Yes. Okay. So Tennessee's got one game left. It's at home against Florida. That's noon on, is that Saturday? That game could be huge for the bracket standings in the SEC. Is the SEC? I'm assuming that they're doing the same thing that they always do, where everyone gets invited, but it lasts like a week because they have all these different bye games and whatnot.
I believe that's what they're doing, because I'm looking at the bracket now and it says 1 versus 13. Doesn't have any names on it, but that seems like the number of teams that are in the SEC or close to it. 1 versus 13.
There's 14, but I think one of them is ineligible this year. I can't remember who.
Gotcha.
I can't remember who it was, but I believe.
Well, I mean, it should be LSU with a bag money of a head coach, but nobody seems to care about Will Wade. But we'll care about Jeremy Pruitt's McDonald's bag. I mean, geez, was he not wearing should we use the leather Armani bag or something? I mean, what was Will Wade using that his bag didn't matter, but Jeremy's did? Was it because we got grease on the money?
The schedule that's on the SEC's website is the first game is a week from today at 7 p.m. and it's the 12 seed versus the 13 seed. So yeah, I guess they're doing it the same as they do every year. The winner of that plays the 5 and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I don't think it will. If they're waiting till Wednesday, that means that their championship is back on a Sunday.
It is.
The top 4 seeds probably don't play until Friday then.
Wednesday night will be the free ticket night they'll be giving away to try and find them 3,400 fans to show up.
I honestly believe that they should, in these really big conference where there's like 14 teams, man, can we eliminate the last 2? That's what they do in college baseball. Not everybody gets to go to the college baseball playoffs. I mean, a tournament like in the ACC. If you're like the worst team, they go, you just go ahead and sit your ass home. It's got nothing to do with COVID or anything. This is every single season. I think they only invite 8 to 10 teams of the 14 in the ACC tournament. I think the SEC is pretty close to that as well. I think they need to start doing that in basketball, because I'll tell you why. If somehow Vanderbilt went on a run and won the SEC title, that's garbage. They're 3-12 right now. They're not likely to do that. But let's say they went on a run, and every team they played just happened to get COVID this year, or freak injuries here and there. A 3-12 Vanderbilt team regular season does not need to be in the NCAA tournament. We've had 3-4 months to determine you suck. We don't need 5 days to go, you know what? Maybe you don't suck. No, you still suck. Okay. And so that's.
You ever seen Jerry Stackhouse perform in the tournament? Maybe Vanderbilt's elite in the tournament. Let's get him in, man.
I don't think Jerry Stackhouse is going to be here. Is going to be the Vanderbilt head coach a year from now.
Oh, I agree with you, but just saying he does well in the tournament.
I
don't know what he was thinking taking that job either. I mean,
not what anybody.
Well, I think he had his buddy.
Athletics job.
Well, he had his buddy as the quote unquote AD here. That was from they came from the Big Three with him over from the NBA G League, and so I think they had a little partnership when that went south, and then they went with a different regime. They kept him on board because you had the turnover in Mason on the other side. But I think Stackhouse is the next one that will be cleaned up.
What does your Brave shirt say? I can't see the.
There's no crying in baseball. I forget you don't look right at us in the camera. My bad.
No,
crying in baseball.
I've got one in front of me now, but it's a long story. But I couldn't see all I could see was this. I couldn't see That's pretty funny. I've got a new one heading my way for the new season, so I'm excited about that.
When my son was playing, this was my third base coach shirt. So I just, I remind them as they round second and they see the Ron Washington windmill that, baby, I mean business. Dig. It's going to be a close play. I know, dig. Better slide.
Reeling him in, and then the next 5 minutes you're on a ventilator going, good God.
No, what's bad is when I got to pump the brakes and call the kid back. That's the tough one.
I just trip him.
Once you get the you try and inadvertently catch him with a windmill, but you got to make sure that your ump's not paying attention, because then you get inadvertent contact, and then you got mom and dad mad at you because you got their baby out, and they're all whole nother scenario of drama there. But I'm telling you what, Bobby Cox ain't got nothing on me. Get kicked out with the best of them.
You see that we're not going to be able to get into that other thing I was talking about. The reason why I do want to debate this with the three of us down the road, because I thought it was an interesting debate that I heard. We'll probably try to talk about it next week or something, about whether or not NASCAR, golfers, and WWE, if it's a sport, and are they athletes, but we're not really going to have time to do that today. So we'll punt that. Did you see that Tom Brady's retracting and making apologies for throwing the Lombardi trophy?
Why?
I don't know, because I'm thinking to myself, Tom, don't let them cancel culture you, dude. Don't do it.
No.
If you're Tom Brady, you say, look, dude, even if they dropped it, I've got 6 others. Come on. Relax.
Yeah, I'll give you one of mine to replace it. It's okay.
Yeah, come on. It's not like they wouldn't have went ahead and made another one.
I think it comes, and I've just seen bits and pieces, but I think they feel he may have been a little happy in that video. I won't use the word tipsy because I don't know that he was there, but I think people got in an uproar.
He was trashed. Everybody was trashed. Good.
That's my point. Who was it?
They had to carry him back onto the shore.
I didn't see.
Am I the only one
that
remembers when the Capitals won the Stanley Cup? They were basically on TV drunk for like 2 months. They were on TV every day, and they were drunk.
Alex Ovechkin was
2 months
chugging beers out of the Stanley Cup in a casino. I mean, straight.
They were at a Nationals game 2 days
looked like something
later,
out of Motley Crue.
They were at a Nationals game 2 days later, and they looked like me on my 21st birthday when Mac took me to a Sounds game, and I was rotting in the sun. I mean, they were melting. They looked like a pat of butter under a heat lamp. I mean, come on.
Well, I think his problem is he tried to hang with the big dog, and you're not going to hang with Gronk, baby.
No,
That dude's a special kind of stupid. I guarantee he could drink like kerosene and be okay. And Tom's usually on a diet of freaking like kale juice and avocado cereal and whatnot. And he goes, you know what? This time I'm going to turn it loose. I'm really get hammered. And I bet you didn't even drink whatever he drank. I bet you wouldn't impress anybody, right? But he was lit. They had to carry his all. It was like Weekend at Bernie's, man. They're getting him off the boat, and he's like,
The funniest part of that video was whoever was recording it. You can hear his youngest daughter, whose name I forget. She has a really unique name. And right before he lets it go, she goes, you can hear her go, "Dad, no." It's just my favorite part of the whole thing. I mean, what? I'm sorry. We don't need to get into a long cancel culture conversation. I'm just stop. Go adopt a dog for a weekend. Like, go read a book. Do anything.
Well, we ever win a gold microphone, I'm definitely drunk tossing it to you dudes. Just know.
I feel like that this stuff like that is making him more likable. People are always hating on Brady. The more stuff he does like that, I don't think he really realizes, because he's very self-aware. So he's normally watching what he says. And, even when they tried to ask him about his friendship with Trump, he pushes it off the side. He doesn't get in anyone's face. He goes, leave me alone kind of thing. But he doesn't realize like that kind of stuff makes him more likable because he seems human now. Because when you're a robot out there winning 7 Super Bowls, there's a lot of people with a lot of hate.
Well, when you leave the evil empire and the dark side, you come over to the light. A lot of people like you a little bit better. So, I mean, just saying, take that, New England fans.
The only thing that could have made Tom Brady more likable this year is if they would have won that Super Bowl in the creamsicle helmets. Like, that's the only way.
That would have been great. Would have loved it.
Justin, I know you got to run, sir. What's your walk off today?
I actually like the creamsicle uniform.
I
I'm
do.
not gonna lie.
Oh,
I thought it was pretty cool. I'm sure I'm in the minority, but
no, you are not. People love that jersey.
Man, I'd love to get one of the throwback hats. I'm gonna look for one today.
I
need me
got
one
the
of those.
helmet in here somewhere. I don't know what the hell I did with it, but I've got it in here somewhere. But
Mets Cardinals noon game today. Got a lot of day baseball. Got some day hockey as well.
There's a 3:00 ESPN game too. I forget what it is, but I know
probably Mariners Cubs
versus
Mariners Cubs.
Kyle
man,
Lewis.
I lied. I did tune into some baseball yesterday. Boog made his debut for the Cubs yesterday, and it was awesome and painful at the same time. But
who's he in there with?
Don't give me the line. I can't remember their in-house guy's name. They kept him and just slid him over and brought Boog in with him.
I haven't really listened to Cubs baseball since Steve Stone was there. So I'm not. Every time I listen to a Cubs game, I've never been very impressed. So I always go to the other feed, but I'm more likely to listen to it now with Boog being there.
I will secretly be listening to Cubs games, and you can hear my enthusiasm in that. But
Justin slowly becoming a Cubs fan.
Boog's Twitter says Jim DeShays. Is that who was in there with him? The old pitcher for the Astros?
Sure.
I don't know if that's right or wrong.
Sounds great. I have no idea. It was spring training yesterday. I don't know if they had the full crew because he didn't make it get day one. Yesterday was Boog's first game, so I don't know who his normal in-season talent's going to be.
Could be Jim Halbert. Who the hell knows? Okay.
Let's not skip Carey. We're all right.
All right, brother. Well, we will see you mañana. Was that essentially you're a walk-off, right?
Oh, yeah. Great day of more baseball. Spring
weather's here.
Spring weather is here, gentlemen. Enjoy.
Fair enough. All right, brother. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the American League Central. Baseball's almost back, baby. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio. And, of course, you can watch us on YouTube Live, Armchair Quarterbacks.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The Cleveland Indians were made aware of complaints about Mickey Callaway's sexually inappropriate behavior during his tenure as their pitching coach, despite the team's public statement to the contrary, a report according to The Athletic. Indians President Baseball of Operations Chris Antonetti, in response to an earlier report by The Athletic, derailed allegations against Callaway, said last month that the organization was unaware of any inappropriate behavior towards women. Angels manager Joe Madden declined to comment on Callaway on Tuesday, citing investigation. ESPN is once again pushing cancel culture as the University of Texas fight song has come into play. Texas President Jay Hartzell responded on Tuesday to a report in the Texas Tribune, fueled by ESPN coverage, featuring emails sent to the school by boosters angry that football players were refusing to follow tradition by singing The Eyes of Texas. ESPN leaked a quote by an unnamed booster, "My wife and I have given an endowment in excess of $1 million to athletics. This could be very easily rescinded if things don't drastically change around here." The alma mater, which gets played before each and every Longhorns football game, has come under scrutiny in recent years because it was performed in a 1903 minstrel show. Hartzell said in a statement last fall, the song will remain, quote, "The Eyes of Texas in its current form will continue to be our alma mater. Aspects of its origin, whether previously widely known or unknown, have created a rift in how the song is understood and celebrated, and that must be fixed." New head football coach Steve Sarkisian said at the January 12th news conference, quote, "I know this much. The Eyes of Texas is our school song. We're going to sing that song. We're going to sing that proudly," unquote. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Welcome to the jungle. Jim Rome on the air, noon to 3 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Radio.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
One more time around the sun, I take it, I run around this blue rock, give it all I got.
Welcome back into the Armchair Quarterbacks. Little West Cook band for you here. Make sure to check him out downtown Nashville. I see that he still plays some solo shows. I would think the band's going to get fired back up here soon as Nashville starts to reopen. Sean O'Toole with us today, and we're going to get into the American League Central. Before we give our predictions, Sean, I want to throw some Pacoda rankings out at you.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you evidently now have a new nickname, Sean the Dude O'Toole, as they're calling you here on the YouTube Live. So, the dude,
okay,
the dude abides, man. And one of our listeners did get a big crack out of your bigger and sweatier comment about India.
I hate Fran McCaffrey. I'm sorry. I couldn't hold it in. Can't stand that guy.
I can tell. So, first of all, let's just go. Let's go out into the AL West real quick. I'm gonna throw a couple out at you and just give me your honest opinion on the. You're wearing the hat, so I got to throw this at you. Okay. The Los Angeles Angels, 87 wins this year.
I always mess this up. Is bullish when I like it and bearish when I don't. I think that's how it works, right? Bullish is when I like it.
Yes.
So I'm bullish on
easy way to remember it. A bull's horns go up, a bear's paw goes down.
There it is. Okay, thank you. Again, not a stock market person at all. So
people get that confused all the time. In fact,
I get messed up all
I
the
got
time.
it confused until I got into the stock game, and I don't remember. Someone threw that analogy at me, and now it's stuck in my head. I go, okay, now I get it.
So I am bullish on two teams in the AL West. One's going to surprise a lot of folks. I'm bullish on the Angels. Last year was the year from
87 wins. Is that not?
I think it's a little bit high. There's a lot of teams, especially in the American League, that have a lot of what could be's, right? There's a lot of what could. We'll talk about the AL Central in a minute. I think the Indians' projections are laughable, and there's a lot of what could be's, you know, with the guys, especially in their rotation. The Angels have the best player in baseball. Sorry, he just is, Mike Trout. If Ohtani plays a full season, if Rendon plays a full season, if they get anything out of Joe Adell, who looked completely lost last year in his rookie season.
I don't think they're planning on having him. Do you? Because they made that trade for Dexter Fowler, and that tells me that they're not.
I think he's going to start the year in Salt Lake, but I still think he's going to be. I still think he's going to be part of the long-term plans going forward. I really like what they did they lost some guys in the bullpen, but they brought in some other arms, some that I really like. I still think they're going to either have Robles close or they're going to go with, I'm going to forget his name, Ty Buttrey, who was good in short work last year. It all comes down to the rotation. Dylan Bundy was one of my favorite picks last year. I actually thought he was really good in Baltimore and was just a victim of Baltimore being completely rudderless. And he proved to be as good as advertised last year. His strikeout and hard hit rate, his strikeout rate was up. His hard hit rate was down. Andrew Haney is still there. I just think that's a division that's there for the taking. I think the Astros are in a lot more trouble than people think they are.
I seriously question their starting rotation, and that's
Mhm.
and that's where you lose me with the Angels. They've always been my favorite AL West team.
Mhm.
I it's probably difficult to see, but I actually do have a Angels helmet up there in the corner.
I got a California Angels hat on the way. It took me forever to find one, but
Yeah,
I love the.
I've got an old blue California Angels hat that I wear from time to time on the show. So I've always liked them for a number of reasons, way back to the Rally Monkey, and even before that. I was a Reggie Jackson fan when I was a kid, so when he went out there, I followed them. So I've always quasi been a somewhat of an Angels fan. I wouldn't call myself an actual fan because I don't watch many games because it comes on so late, but I do try to catch them when they are on. I like the fact that they added Iglesias as a closer.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what it is. Right. So, yep.
But their bullpen in general is questionable. And when I go into a season and I know I just have offense and I have a lot of questions on the rotation, I get it that Alex Cobb has all these metrics that everyone loves, but Alex Cobb just traditionally lets you down. Jose Quintana sucks, man. I'm telling you. I watched him pitch the other day. He is like batting practice speed. He tries to live off his curveball, and that's okay for like one time through the lineup. And then after that, you're going to be up against it. You just are. And so I'm pulling for them. I just think they're extremely overrated going into this season. I've more likely think that the Oakland A's could be the ones that dethrone. I do think the Astros are overhyped in this. They have 93 wins on their PECOTA rankings.
Don't see it.
I don't either. They lost a lot, and I think it's the simple fact that you lost your ace and he's not going to be there all year. That is a major blow. And then, of course, you lost George Springer in the offseason. And so you could argue their best hitter and their best pitcher are now gone. How do you recover from that? I think the Mariners have some young talent. They'll be good down the road, but this isn't the year. This is the year you see them maybe get into the 75 win range.
But they were surprisingly frisky last year in the short season. They were in games that you wouldn't expect them to be in. And I don't think most casual baseball fans know Kyle Lewis's name, but they need to because that dude good.
Well, he's the AL Rookie of the Year, so I would think more of them should know him by now. He's that entire pipeline for the Mariners is really good, no matter what that CEO said. No matter how overpaid he thinks Kyle Seager is. The Rangers are the team that's going to be trashed. They're just nothing.
It's going to be
and nothing. I usually like to pull for the Rangers because they're usually exciting to watch. They usually have a lot of offense. There's nothing. Joey Gallo is going to be the only thing worth watching, and I think he gets traded at the deadline this year because they're doing a complete overhaul. There's no reason to try to hold on to Gallo.
When please cover your ears, any Rangers fans who might be listening. When a Tigers fan who is in about year 6 now of a long-term rebuild says he feels sorry for what you're going to have to watch this year, you might want to tune out because it's going to be rough in Arlington. It's a beautiful ballpark too. I mean, everybody got a close look at it because they held some parts of the playoffs and the World Series there last year. It's a gorgeous ballpark. Looks great on MLB The Show. I can't wait to see it in the 21 version when I get it in a few weeks. But
why is that thing not coming out till April 20th?
Yeah, that's a good question.
MLB The Show?
I would presume.
With the dopeheads? We ought to release it on 420. Whee!
I don't think that's the reason, but I think there's extra code that they had to write this year because they're releasing it for Xbox for the first time ever this year instead of just for PlayStation. And also in that industry, there have been a lot of delays just because everybody was working in offices. They've had to pivot to work from home and things just take a little bit longer. So that's my guess. I don't have any inside intel on that.
the season starts on the 1st. They're releasing the game on the 20th.
It's dumb. I'm not disagreeing with you.
They do this every year where I feel like MLB The Show is released way too late.
Yep. Madden nails it every year. Madden releases it like right when the season starts. Yeah. Right. A couple weeks before the season starts. It's like, it's football season. Madden's out. So
exactly.
Yeah, marketing.
MLB The Show's got to get it together. I feel like MLB The Show should be available the Tuesday after the Super Bowl. And that's how I would market it, because you get an entire month, you're bored off your ass. You would love to be able to do that.
I agree.
If that would have been available this year, the Tuesday after the Super Bowl, I would have never gotten my office redone. I'd have put playing that, and I had a green screen behind me.
I haven't even said it yet. I was going to tell you offline. It looks great. I love it.
Thank you. My wife's had most of she picked out the casing and the color that she wanted and all that kind of stuff. I just added a few other I tried to make it a little cleaner looking is what I was going with.
Right.
So, from time to time we'll be able to move stuff around it. There's a whole lot of stuff over here that y'all can't even see. That's actually pretty cool. I might do a tour one day and just kind of flash the camera around, but that might, knowing me, that'll take us offline. I'll rip a cord out or something. So, maybe I'll do that on a Facebook Live or something. Okay. American League Central.
Yep.
It's what we got here. It's what we going with. First of all, are you bullish or bearish on the Twins?
I'm bullish on the Twins, and I think they're clearly the best team in the division, although I think the gap between them and the White Sox is less than what Pacoda has. So the Pacoda things, just to run it down really quick. Twins at 91 wins, 61% odds to win the division. Indians at 86 wins, 25% odds to win the division. White Sox at 83 wins, 13% odds to win the division. And then the Royals and the Tigers, again, we don't need to get into that, but they're clearly the bottom two. And then there's a top three. And depending on how you feel about each of them, you could really slot them however you want. I think the Twins are the best team in the division. I think 91 wins is probably about right. Somewhere between 88 and 93, I think is about where they'll end up. My big issue is the Indians and the White Sox. I actually see those backwards. I think the White Sox are going to be better than Pacoda. And I'm very, very skeptical of the Indians because I just don't know how they're going to score runs. I mean, with getting rid of Lindor, you're really counting a lot on Jose Ramirez and Tyler Naquin to generate runs for you. And Carlos Santana, I think he's still there. My memory is a little bit fuzzy as to whether he moved on, but he came back from Philly and had a decent year last year in the truncated season. And their pitching's, dubious, obviously. Shane Bieber's amazing, but after that, you're counting on Zach Plesac to be better than he's been so far to this point. I mean, the stuff is there, but he was
really good last year because
he was really good, and the stuff has always been there. But when he's been hit hard, it's because he's left balls in the zone for too long. And if he does that in this division, I mean, if you want to go through 1 through 6 in the White Sox lineup, you can get yanked from the game really quick. And Tristan McKenzie looked great last year, but he had 2 starts against the Tigers, and in which he, had basically had an ERA that was like 68 Bob Gibson. So I want to see it from that lineup. Their bullpen's also just really, really questionable in my estimation. And, they gave away Brad Hand for nothing. So, I don't know. It just feels like it's the White Sox are on the up. I'm a little bullish on the White Sox. I think they're going to finish a lot closer to 86 or 87 wins. And I think the Twins are going to finish a lot closer to 500, but that's just my opinion. And the Royals and Tigers are going to be a little bit friskier this year than they were last year. The Royals, especially. And the Tigers are going to play all their kids. So, you're just, when you're seeing guys for the first time in a full 162 game season, you just don't know what kind of start anybody's going to get off to, how unfamiliar we're going to be with them. That would be my biggest argument. Is I just see the White Sox in second, the Indians in third, and I think the Indians are going to be closer to 500. But I'm willing to be wrong. I just think runs are going to be really, really tough for them to produce. They're going to have to manufacture them.
Well, I wonder who they're going to go to as their closer.
Yep.
as far as the Indians go.
Big question.
I do like their starting rotation. I think it's probably the best in the division long term. Maybe I give the nod a little bit to Chicago. I'm not a believer in Minnesota's pitching. I just think guys like Kenton Maeda, the second time around, people are going to tattoo his ass. And but when you got Shane Bieber, Savale, Plesac, McKenzie, Tristan McKenzie's electric, y'all.
He's good.
That's a pretty good rotation. The problem is I don't know. I'm looking at this bullpen and I just like outside of Plutko, Oliver Perez might be their best arm. That guy's like 60. So it's just like, what are we doing here? So
he was setting up Trevor Hoffman.
I think it's more of a rebuilding than what they're letting on, is what my point is, right? So I think when at the end of the day, it's going to end up being Minnesota and Chicago fighting it out. Who do you have winning the division, and then how do you have the rest of the division going?
I got Minnesota winning the division. I've got the White Sox in second. I mean, they're just going to score so many runs, and the games between them and the White Sox, the Twins and the White Sox, are just going to be a hoot because there's just going to be a boatload of 11-9 and 9-8 and 8-6 games when they play during the season. Then I got the Indians in third, the Royals in fourth, and the Tigers in last. But I actually think the Tigers are going to outperform Pacoda. Pacoda has them at 67 wins, same as the Rangers. I think the Tigers are going to be closer to 75. I think they're going to be a lot better, a little bit better than Pacoda predicts, but still at the bottom of the division. So Twins, White Sox, Indians, Royals, Tigers in that order.
So I've got a little bit of a surprise. I've got the White Sox winning the division.
I like it.
I just think they're just so loaded, and they played so well last year. I just think 162 game season, I'm going to bet on the fact that they've got a lot of talent in that White Sox offense, and then of course the pitching. They've adding the guys that they did, and then Giolito, I think he's elite. They
still got Kopech coming. I don't know when he's supposed to be back from Tommy John, but he's still coming. Dude that throws 101 and has a hammer curveball. Good Lord.
Oh, he's fine.
Is he fine now? Okay.
Yeah. The only question they have this year is whether or not he's going to start in the pen or in the rotation. But
yeah,
that Tommy John was 2 years ago. Everyone
forgets. Was it 2 years ago? Okay.
Everyone forgets that because he just opted not to play last year because mainly they didn't want to put him in harm's way, rushing him back in a weird season. Right. So that was it on that. As far as the rest of the division, my third place team is the Kansas City Royals. I think Kansas City is going to have a surprising year this year. Brad Keller is a solid pitcher, Danny Duffy, and then guys like Brady Singer, who are a little underrated because he's such a young kid, so he's still learning the game. And they added Mike Minor, and Mike Minor can be that wild card that keeps Kansas City in the playoff hunt all year long. They still have Greg Holland. They've got Wade Davis in the bullpen. They've got a lot of older arms. The bullpen is a bit of a question mark. When you got Salvador Perez and you got Carlos Santana and you've got they just extended Hunter Dozier to a 5-year deal the other day. Mondesi had a down year, and if they would have played a 162 game season, Mondesi having a down year, he still would have stole about 60 bases. So, and then I think Andrew Benintendi is going to have a renaissance in Kansas City. Michael Taylor, I expect him to produce, and then of course Whit Merrifield and Jorge Soler. That's going to be a team that scores. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
That's a very interesting, now that I'm looking at it, and that I honestly will confess, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at the lineup, but you look at the middle of it. I mean, if you put, say, Mondesi leads off, Benintendi, Merrifield, Soler, Frenchie Cordero, Salvador Perez, that's pretty solid top six in the lineup. And that can do a lot of damage. I mean, Frenchie Cordero can, he's like Jorge Soler light. If he gets a barrel on the ball, it's going to go a long way, as the kids say. So if they get any pitching at all, they could actually be surprising. I don't hate that pick. I just worry about that bullpen. I mean, Jesse Hahn, Greg Holland, Wade Davis, these are all guys that were good 3-4 years ago. So can they recapture the magic, or are they going to blow a bunch of late games would be the only concern there.
And then I think I'm going to continue to surprise you, because I am going to put the Cleveland Indians in the cellar, and I got Detroit finishing fourth. I'll tell you why. If Cleveland does not come out hitting on all cylinders, they are going to be in sell mode. Yeah. They're going to trade away the Jose Ramirez's and whatnot, and that is a lot of pressure to put on a very questionable bullpen. And so, even though I like their pitching, first of all, I think this division is going to be very tight. So when I put someone in the cellar, they're not 30 games out of first place, right? But I think that I like the fact that the Tigers, this youth movement, I think they'll play inspired ball under their new skipper. They'll definitely know what pitch is coming. And so
there it is. I was waiting for it.
That's how
it was just a matter of time.
So that's my reasoning for that. Boyd, Mize, Fulmer, Turnbull. This should be a really good young rotation. They're going to have their bumps and bruises, but I think there'll be a lot of fun to watch. And then the question that I have is the kid that they drafted number 1 overall a couple of seasons ago. What the heck is his name? Oh God, I can't think of his name. Whether or not he's going to make the big league team or not. Right now, he's not on the 40-man roster for the Tigers. They're what's the Tigers' big young name?
Slugger?
Yeah.
Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah.
Spencer Torkelson.
I was wanting to call him Spencerson, and I was like, that is not his name. Okay. Torkelson. I'm interested to see how early he comes up. Right. And if he does come up, I think this kid is just a legitimate born hitter. Now, they may err on the side of caution with him, especially trying to save his arm. I'm sorry, his years on his contract.
Yep.
But I would be interested to watch him play as well. I just think they're going to be a really, really fun team. And I'll probably look like a total jackass at the end of this, but I've got where everyone's got Cleveland at third, I'm sliding them all the way down to the bottom of the division, essentially. So and I hate that, because I actually like to pull for Cleveland. I like Francona. I like a lot of the players on Cleveland. I think they're going to do a complete bailout. When you start selling guys off like Lindor, the rest is coming. The rest is coming soon. So they can do a complete overhaul so they can be competing for this division in the next, we'll say 2 to 3 years. They can be right back at it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And I mean, the Tigers, as frustrated as I've been with Al Avila, the general manager, I'm starting to see the ice thaw a little bit on Chris Illich's checkbook. Signing Robbie Grossman in the offseason, who's a professional hitter, a contact hitter, a guy you can put in the 2-hole, who's going to play left field, 154 times and is going to be solid and reliable. He's, it really, for all Tigers fans, you love hearing this name. He's a chunk off of my heart for Chet Lemon. He's a guy who's going to hit 280. He's going to get on base. He's going to, hit about 15 to 20 homers, drive in about 70 runs. You put him in left field. You sign Wilson Ramos, who's not the second coming to Johnny Bench, but he's a professional catcher. And you sign Jose Arena, who looked really bad in the last year and a half after coming back from some shoulder operations. But in 2018, had some pretty sizzling numbers for the Marlins, especially his strikeout rate. So if you can find anything there and you add that with Boyd, Turnbull, Mize, and Fulmer, maybe Tariq Skubal, starts the year in the rotation or starts in the pen. It's a little unclear whether he's going to report to Toledo or be on the team. I think they'll be more of a professional baseball team this year than certainly what we saw in 2019 and definitely what we saw in the truncated season last year, which is just really hard to draw a lot of conclusions from because they just played all the kids. There's very little money on the books after this year. for anybody that's over the age of 30, it's pretty much Miguel Cabrera, and that's it. There's still 3 years on that contract. I can't believe that's true, but it is. There's still 3 years left on his deal. Yeah, we'll see. I hope to see Torkelson this year. I hope they call up Riley Green this year, who's a left fielder, corner outfielder who can really hit and really play defense. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year. I love your Royals prediction. I'm probably going to catch a lot of them. And yeah, that lineup is a lot better than I think I had taken note of before today.
And it's a great baseball town too. So I really hope they're
wonderful baseball town.
I just hope they're competitive again. All right, it's time to turn back time and do our walk-offs. All right. You'll notice I had to change it up a little bit because YouTube kept flagging me. So I had to change the sound up a little bit, but that's okay. Turn back time on this date in 1967. Oh, if we could go back and stop these jackasses from doing this. The White Sox are permitted to use a partially designated hitter rule in spring training. And what that entailed was, with the home club's permission, each team will be allowed to use a DH pinch hitter twice in the same game. That eventually evolved into, was about 5 years down the road, where they put the DH throughout the entire American League. So, if we could go back in time, we would stop the presses there. This is also the 29th anniversary of Dwight Gooden's charges are filed in Florida against the New York Mets. Charges are filed in Florida against New York Mets, Darrell Boston, Vince Coleman, and Dwight Gooden of rape. The charges were eventually dropped in April. And also on this date in 1994, so 27 years ago, his old teammate Darryl Strawberry is investigated by the IRS, and they would eventually nail him for big time fines. Birthdays. It's your birthday today. I got a couple. The main one that I'm gonna circle today is is it really? Whew, 59 years old today. The great Herschel Walker. Still, in my opinion, the best running back to ever play college football. And I think he could have been something super special in the NFL if he hadn't spent the first few years in the USFL. I feel like that really did a number on his career. But happy 59th birthday. And I'll tell you what, he's just a great person in general. I see him do a lot of speeches and whatnot. And Herschel Walker, I never would have thought would be so involved in politics and whatnot. We won't get into that, but he's happy birthday, happy 59th to Herschel Walker. This is also the 41st birthday for Matt Diaz, ex-Florida State baseball player, also ex-Atlanta Brave player. Remember, that guy could not turn on any fastball. He had every single one of them right down the right field line. But I mean, he was a great stick off the bench, and hopefully Jake Lamb can be the new Matt Diaz for the Braves this year. What's your walk-off today, sir?
My walk-off is a somber one, a little rest in peace, rest in power, whatever you want to call it, to Herb Cross, which pretty much leaves only Brett Musburger as the only living member of the first real, NFL broadcasting team that I remember was Phyllis George, Jimmy the Greek, Herb Cross, Brett Musburger. That was really the first studio show that had a lot of juice and had a lot of legs. And Herb Cross was a great guy. I really enjoyed him as a small kid watching the NFL today on CBS, and saddened to see that he passed away this past week at the age of 81. Had a full life, played quarterback for the Eagles, was on TV for a while, but rest in peace to Herb Cross.
My walk-off is also a somber one because I didn't get a chance to do it earlier in the week, but we lost him while we were on the break. Pedro Gomez. He was one of my favorite reporters, and he died suddenly. He was what was he 59? I think is what.
In his 50s. He was not old at all.
He would have been 59. I still never saw the cause of death. It was sudden and came out of nowhere. But man, it just tells you that you need to embrace every day because you never know when your last is going to be. But Pedro Gomez, I just thought he did a phenomenal job. And of course, he was with the ESPN. Before that, he was with the Miami News, San Diego Union, and then eventually became he became a big name with the Sacramento Bee covering the old Oakland A's Bash Brothers. So
yep,
they have that. All right, well, we're done depressing y'all. So we'll see you tomorrow. Tony, not Tony, Tones will be here tomorrow on a Joey Areola is what I'm trying to say. Joey Areola will be with us. Justin Waller. I get their Twitter names stuck in my head, and so I get confused. So sorry. It'll be Joey will probably go into some NL Central tomorrow, talk about the Cubs and Cardinals, etc. We'll see you mañana. Great job, Sean, and we'll see you next week, sir.
See y'all.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette, please. Can I